Hello everyone, and welcome back to Xenoblade Chronicles X. If you remember, last time we left off by being introduced to this alien massive world here, and we're told that our goal is to make it to that thing. And if you remember, we were told we can take the low ground, but as you can see, there are level 6 monsters, and who knows what else down there, or we can take the safer high ground where we have level 3 monsters. So, we're going to take the safe, slightly longer way, and consider it more of a scenic route. As you can see, we've discovered this place, and this little clock icon on the map, if you look, this is how you can change the time to whatever time of day you want. It's not a big deal now, but later on, it kind of becomes a big deal. Now we can go ahead and get these guys out of the way, get a bit of XP, and try to see if we can check this treasure out here, because that would be nice. Let's go ahead and buff ourselves again. And that one's dead. Technically, these guys are not hostile, and we do not have to fight them at all, but it's quick, easy XP, and we may wish we had it later. So let's go ahead. And the 3000 that's by our name, in case you were wondering, that is our TP, which you might have noticed before. That's something that we can't actually have any use for right now, but we will later, and it will actually become extremely important later on. But anyway, let's grab that treasure, and let's move. And as you can see, this one treasure that is in front of us that we don't actually see is a different color, which indicates it is on a different elevation. So that's why it's not actually right there. Well, let's continue progressing. And one of these actually is hostile, and the other one may join in. So it may benefit us to just go ahead and take it out before it gets a chance to do anything to us. And buffs and things like that are extremely good. If you noticed, we could no longer target that one part of him because we destroyed that appendage, which makes him unable to use certain attacks and weaker. So targeting is extremely useful and something that you definitely want to get the hang of early on, because it will make your life much easier later on. We'll leave this nice one alone because he's not causing anyone any trouble. And let's try not fighting this level 5, because he's not only level 5, he's a fairly large monster. So, usually not a good idea to fight those if you are not prepared. However, this guy, who cares if he's sleeping? We need XP. But take these early fights as an opportunity to work on your timing, like with the B button prompt, because later on it gets much harder and much faster to do, which it just helps to be in the habit of being fairly accurate and quick with it. Anyway, once again, we could continue fighting some of these guys. Oh, he aggroed on us, so for once you guys can't actually think I'm just going around massacring innocent creatures. He started it. Let's lock on there and just destroy that appendage. Good. And now lock on to this other one. And as you can see, and your health, as you probably noticed in the last episode, does regen out of combat, so it's not that big a deal. And you can, if you need to, run away from combat, although no guarantee that you can actually escape these guys, because they're surprisingly fast. Ooh, and as you can see, we took a lot of damage there. Which can indicate... That's something you also have to be extremely careful with taking damage like that, is if there's another enemy that wants to jump in the fight afterwards and you don't get a chance to regen. Oh, this little level 1, excuse me, forget how to talk sometimes, wants to fight. And he brought his mother in on the fight, which makes perfect sense. Didn't mean to hit B. Yeah, if you hit B, it puts away your weapons and stops your attack, which is very annoying. And we leveled up, so that's good. But yeah, this is where it can get tricky if you start fighting multiple enemies at once, because they can start to add up if you're not very careful and aware of who all you're fighting. And the worst feeling in this game is when a freaking level 50 monster decides to jump into the fight when you're trying to fight like a level 10 and one-shot you. So always be aware of your surroundings. Buff ourselves again real quick. Let's see if we can get the topple off, even though it has not been working very much. Hope he died. Doesn't matter. And we got a new art. We can check very quickly what that art is. Oh, skills accidentally. Skills are something we will deal with later. We have a bunch of skill slots, but no skills, so we will go over those later. Let's see what our new art is. A purple art, which is kind of another shooting art that this one will inflict taunts when we use it, which is high risk, high reward type thing. It will make an enemy focus you, which can be good to save your allies, but at the same time, you have to be very careful. We can just test it out very quick. And also, in case you didn't notice, which you probably did, it did not do any actual damage, it appears, which is not the best thing ever. Oh, and that one's aggroed as well. That was not part of the plan. See, that's why I say these things will aggro when you're not even aware that they're there sometimes. So let's just try to finish this off. And the combat early on is slow because we don't have many arts, we don't have many strong attacks. But it's important to learn the basics early on because, like I say, the combat system is very different than a lot of other games. Let's go ahead and just aggro him, because why not? See, that's a good combination. You can aggro him and then buff yourself. That way you don't take as much damage as your partner. How is Elma level 5, almost 6, and I'm only 4? It seems unfair. What the heck, game? Either I'm misremembering or there's something weird with this Elma. Now this, we gotta be careful. 2 fairly decent leveled monsters that will aggro if they see us. So let's see if we can pick them off one at a time here. Don't know if it's gonna work. Ooh, we did actually finally topple him, so we got to do a good extra bit of damage right there. Let's aggro him since we just like targeted him, or taunted him rather, to make him target us. Let's finish him off. He'll be worth a good chunk of XP. And levels are extremely important. Don't be trying early on to be taking on something and be like, oh, well, it's only 2, 3 levels higher than me. That usually means you're going to die very easily because, oh, see? Even this thing that's equal level with us is doing a lot of damage. Let's get a bit of health back and we kill him. But that's what I'm saying. It's very easy to die if you are not prepared. Now let's let our health recover and then we will finish this guy off as well. There we go. There we go. Let's buff ourselves quickly before this gets out of hand. And to be honest, I don't want to use the taunt attack too much because Elma's much better defended and higher level than me. More HP, more everything, so I kind of don't want this thing targeting me, even with the buff. I could give the buff to Elma, but that would seem pointless, because then I'd be super weak. But don't worry, later on we'll be like carrying Elma to victory. And we ranked our class up again. Let's try to actually make some progress. See, those are the type that are dangerous. That level 22 up there to level 30, and you can see they will aggro on you. So avoid them at all costs. Let's grab these 2 blue things while we're right here. Because who knows, those could be useful items later on. And it's already turned night. But we are at the West Gate Plain, which is good for us. As you can see, we're almost here. Big yellow circle indicating that we are close to our objective. It's somewhere in here. So let's sprint through and cutscene.
Bigger up close, doesn't it? And this was just the habitat unit. The white whale was one hell of a ship. Until it all came crashing down, at least. That's the west gate. It's closed off now for security reasons. But we've repurposed a freight elevator that will get us inside.
Uh-oh.
Rex's. Riled. We can't leave them roaming here, not this close to the gate. We're gonna have to take them down. You ready?
I don't think we have a choice anyway. I mean, they would kill us if we try to run. As you can see, they are level 4, so do not take these guys too lightly. This is... I guess you could treat it as a boss fight. But as long as you use everything that you've been using up to this point, they take a lot of damage, as you can see. Even though they're high levels, some of those other levels we were fighting were much tougher. But this is why you want to be a decent level by the time you get here, because like I say, it's... I hate to call something like this a boss fight, but it's kind of a mini boss fight. But just use, like I say, your typical tactics. We've already leveled up and killed 2 of the 3 already without much trouble, and this level 3 one is, I mean, you almost feel bad for this guy. His tail just got blown off. And there we go. Not too bad, but something to definitely be prepared for. As long as you can handle them, you're on the right path. And if you can't, then you really need to practice.
So much wildlife. Luckily, some species aren't so hostile, but they aren't necessarily friendly either. I've come to learn that there's a fine line between self-defense and provoking a fight.
Sure there is.
You need to walk that line. Alright, let's head in. Who knows? Maybe seeing the inside will jog your memory.
Funny that Elma talks about fine line between self-defense and picking fights when, for the most of this point up to now, all we've been doing is going around slaughtering animals for levels, and that's pretty much what we're going to continue to do. But whatever, yeah, we're not going to pick fights. Let's just hurry along here. And as you can see, this is a pretty massive area, which makes sense, because this is a pretty massive game. This is barely any of it. Gate looks closed. Let's go talk to this guy, because our map tells us to. Well, actually, we don't have to talk to that guy. It's a different guy our map's telling us to go to. Let's go up here. Oh, do we not even have to talk to anybody? Elevator is ready for use. Can we use the elevator? Yes, okay. Oh yeah, we talked to him at the top of the elevator. My bad. Once we get up there, the yellow will change to different shade to indicate that it is on this level. Whenever we get there. Who do we have to talk to? Not talk to anybody. Could have sworn, maybe I just talked to people the first time just because. No real value of them though. And as you can see, prologue in progress 5 out of 5 indicates that we are reaching the end of the prologue. So, that's definitely nice. And now we get to finally see what's inside this place.
Well, here we are. Not too shabby, huh? For a giant beached spaceship, anyway. But, like it or not, this place is our home now. We took the name from the city it was modeled after back on Earth. We call it New Los Angeles. Welcome to NLA.
Another survivor came to join our band of refugees. Together, we resolved to forge a new way of life here on Mira, come what may. New LA was our beautiful lie to ourselves. Truth is, we were adrift, heading into the unknown. Our native home was gone, swallowed in a shroud of light. And our future was uncertain. We had no idea what fate lay in store for us. Only that we had to keep living in order to see it.
And as you can see, pretty massive little, don't know if you'd call it a little city or whatever you want to call it. But we'll be doing a lot of stuff here throughout the entire game, so you'll have to eventually learn where everything is, but it gets kind of simple. And that is pretty much the end of the prologue, so we finally are going to be getting into the actual main parts of the game. So not too long. Obviously we want to save, because if you don't save you can be like me and lose like 3 or 4 levels one day. That may or may not have happened at some point.
How about a quick tour of the facilities to refresh your memory? Let's start with your living quarters. Follow me.
And as you can probably imagine, this
Greetings,
next part...
citizens of New Los Angeles.
Oh, let me let
Today,
this guy talk
this is
first.
your Director General, Maurice Chausson. Today, I once again come to you with news I am truly delighted to share. Yesterday, we repatriated 10 more White Whale crew members. These fellow pioneers will rejoin our ranks as citizens of NLA, bringing with them skills and know-how that will bolster our ability to survive and indeed flourish here in our new home. This, of course, is only the latest success in our continuing efforts.
Director General? Since when?
2 days ago, ma'am.
We finally get to meet new people.
From political aide to Director General in just a few weeks. At this rate, he'll be Emperor by next month.
Irina? Gwyn?
Nice work out there, ma'am.
Yeah, let's ask who they are.
Introductions. Irina Akulov, Gwyn Evans.
This one of the survivors, Colonel?
The survivor. I only found a single pod intact at Starfall Basin.
Wait, what? What happened to 10 more crew members?
Come on, seriously? Chausson was never one to let the truth get in the way of a good speech. Still, every last survivor counts. You can call me Irina. I'm with the Interceptors.
Me too. Same division. You can call me Mr. Evans. Or just Gwyn.
The three of us were in the Coalition forces together, specifically the Special Operations Heavy Armor Training Unit, aka the Skeleton Crew. I was a colonel and Irina a lieutenant. Gwyn was a more recent recruit. Of course, I keep telling them we don't need those old ranks anymore now that we're here.
You're still Colonel to me, ma'am. No reorg will ever change that. And that's not about chain of command either. It's about respect. You've earned it.
And the award for best ass kiss goes to...
Well, I'd remind you both the ma'ams aren't necessary if I thought you'd listen.
All right, ma'am. We should be getting back to work. Until next time, Colonel.
Right. We should be going too. The administrative district isn't far. That's where you'll be calling home. For now, anyway.
Okay, if they're finally done talking, one thing I would like to note, I would really hate if whatever the head guy that was just talking on the screen, that's kind of annoying that he would give his big speech like what, that's 11:30 at night just randomly. Imagine that would wake people up, but whatever. Anyway, as I was trying to say, this whole section here is going to, obviously, as you can guess, going to be a tutorial on where everything is, kind of show you the ropes of New LA. So let's hurry up and go through it. It's going to be a lot of talking, a lot of cutscenes, but at least it usually lets us walk in between cutscenes to the next cutscene. That's not good. Neither is that. Well, that could have just killed both of us if it had been just slightly different. If we had taken like 3 or 4 steps more, we'd be dead. So that's wonderful. Introduction. Just land the stupid thing. Not exactly what I had in mind.
Damn it! Look, I know what exhaust smells like, and it was exhaust in the cockpit. Just check the ductwork, would ya?
Oh, I'm checking. I just seriously doubt... Hey, look at that! The intake exhaust bypass is reversed. Oh man, it's a good thing I caught that.
You caught that? You're the one who cleared me to fly.
Everything okay? It's not like you to flub a flight check, Lynn. Good thing you had a rugged pilot like Doug at the controls.
Oh, hey Elma. How'd it go out there? And would this be one of the you-know-who's?
Well, that's rather rude.
Cool. I'm Lynn Lee Koo, mechanic and top all-around fix-it gal for Blake.
Yes, let's find out exactly how old this top mechanic that does everything and apparently is in charge of these giant robots is.
She's 13, and I know, she looks young, and she is young, but trust me, she's one of our top talents.
And
Most
that's
of the
why the
time,
human
man.
race is screwed.
Most of the time.
Anyway, you guys heading back to the barracks?
Yeah, why do you ask?
As long as you're here, why don't I take you on the transport? It's a great way to see the city. I'll give you the grand tour.
That sounds like a great idea.
Alright, Doug, I think that'll be all for today. You can clean up here and dock the Skell.
What?
Don't mind the exhaust. I'll take care of it tomorrow.
Don't mind it? Wait, why am I cleaning up your mess in the first place? Lynn! Lynn!
Because she's a 13-year-old girl that's apparently in charge of a bunch of stuff here. Not exactly making me feel too confident of NLA's future. Anyway, as you can see, this is how the party system works. We have to have all these that will move her into our active current party. Confirm changes. And then there she is, phasing into us. But yeah, 13-year-old girl apparently is the smartest person as far as mechanics go in this entire city. So, bit skeptical how bright the future looks. But let's talk to the transport pilot. And finally get you see, we got to even hit like the cutscene, so progress. In case you haven't guessed, I do not have a high opinion of cutscenes every 20 steps or so, but the game obviously gets much better later on. But yeah, intro is a bit slow, I will admit.
Not bad, huh? You can see everything from up here.
We could if the camera angle was
Keep
different,
walking, that's for sure.
The best way to see NLA. I never get tired of this view. It's like a different city every time.
which we don't get to see.
It's certainly come a long way in the last few weeks. There's still so much to be done.
One day at a time.
Speaking of which, we don't really have time for a full pleasure cruise here. Why don't you give us the express tour, Lynn? Just the highlights.
Okay, you got it. New LA is divided into 4 districts. We departed from the industrial district, where Doug and I were conducting the flight test. It has food production, skill development, you know, industries and stuff.
Fairly irrelevant for a
It's
while.
also where the West Gate is located, remember? Expect to pass through there fairly often.
That's a
The
straight
only
lie,
other
you will
gate
barely
area
go there.
facilities in the administrative district. I'm skipping ahead.
Next is the commercial district. Restaurants, galleries, cafes, clothing, groceries, you name it. It's a veritable shopping paradise.
The CD is the closest thing to a downtown we've got. Can actually get pretty crowded sometimes.
Well, by NLA standards anyway. Day or night, the best and only bargains on the planet.
Which you don't actually get to shop much there, but
To
you
your
get
right,
quests from
the
there.
residential district. Housing, housing, and more housing. Well, plus a nice park and the cathedral.
If you're ever looking for quiet time alone, or want to relax and unwind with a good book, that's the spot.
Right? The park is my favorite place to just zone out and chill. And last but not least, our destination, the administrative district, the nerve center at the heart of NLA. Note the distinct dual-level structure here. The upper level holds our administrative tower, home to Blade HQ and the government. Not to mention Armory Alley as well as the barracks where we live. The lower level there is a hangar complex for Skell maintenance and repairs. And this concludes our tour. We will be landing shortly.
Thanks, Lynn. We'll save the rest of orientation for once we're back at the barracks.
Luckily, they don't make us go to all of these places yet, but yeah, the main point of the different other districts is there's quests and stuff there. There's really not much else actually practical for you to do there, but you can always go around and check it out and find people.
Enjoy your stay in the administrative district, and thank you for flying Linley Airlines.
Right. Let's get you over to the barracks. Then I should file my report. They'll be eager to hear the details on how I found you, I'm sure.
Well then, we better not keep them waiting. The barracks are pretty close, actually. They're set up just behind the giant blade tower here. That road there wraps around the left side and leads right to it.
We'll pass through Armory Alley, but let's not get sidetracked, okay? We can check it out later.
And we finally get to walk to our next destination. This is the administrative district, and basically this is where all the important stuff is going to take place. So you want to get used to it. There's Blade Tower, which is kind of important. But let's first walk over here. As you can see, there's treasures even in here sometimes. But it's mechanic level 2, which we cannot do because we only have level 1 skill. So that's something to keep in mind because that is very important. Armor Alley is another important area, as this is where the shops are, where you actually can buy weapons, armor, and various other things. This is where you buy weapons and armor, which we cannot do yet, and this is where you do stuff with companies, which we cannot do yet, and I will explain in more detail later when we can actually do something. Over there is some important stuff for later, but the game will take us through all of this. But the important thing, this yellow door right here, is the barracks. And this is where you're going to do a lot of your stuff.